Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Welcome in, welcome in. We are live. Let's take a look at the current market status. Let's just run this into the charts as we go into looking at yesterday or Friday. And we worked up post market. This kind of blue gray area was very base, didn't move much, and then 4 a.m. Eastern time popped up here on the Monday open or Sunday night. So this would be, I guess, Friday. I look at the futures Sunday night and then QQQ trades Monday morning, so I can kind of see where we're going to go with that. And now we've crept back down. So we'll see what happens today on that. And let's just do a quick look at all the stocks that I'm tracking. American Airlines going back down. AMD 477. That may be a trade today. I'll see what I've got on. Amazon holding. I haven't traded BABA in a while. Salesforce working its way down. I'm staying out of that for right now. Good morning, Brent. Thank you very much for being here. Give me 1 second. Let's see what else we're going down here. Dow Chemical. I'm still waiting for go down before I get back in that. FedEx and FedEx Freight. I'm holding in. I got into that before they split. I did really well, and I probably should have just exited. But I'm still not losing. I'm just not making much on them. They're just kind of sitting stable, creeping up slowly. Goog with an L. Down. That may be a trade I'll look at today. It had spiked up. I think if I can pick up a 6-week option, we'll take a look at that. Robinhood's down. Innovo I'm out of. I made money on Innovo Medical Solutions, and my understanding is that their new drug got delayed, and that dropped the price. Intel's down. That's interesting. That may not super far, but down. Joby Aviation, another one of those cheap ones that I watch every once in a while. Jump in when I try and get a push. It's more of a gamble. Probably should stay away from that. Nvidia is up again. I'm out of Nvidia. Palantir back into that 170 range. Took me a good 5 months to get out of that trade on Palantir in my retirement account. SK Hynix down. Still just watching that one from its IPO. SpaceX up. We'll have to manage that today. That's interesting. It had an earnings call and a earnings report and revenue. SoFi is another one I've been watching. I'm going to wait till it dips back down. It has this thing of dipping down and shooting up. Tesla down this morning. I'd like to see Tesla down a little bit higher or a little bit more. Verizon's still up after earnings. And Walmart down a little bit. All right, so let's take a look at positions and where I'm at. Here's the market open. Here we go. We're off. All right. Bonds down a little bit. Looks like I've got trades closing on Schwab. So this is the trade we took, and we're at 109. We got to stay above 108 for the next 11 days. I think we're solid. I don't think they're moving interest rates. No surprises there. So I'm just going to let that hopefully burn off the theta on that, just burn out as time goes. And we've got that set to close at 7. These are out for the September options, well out of the money. If we do notice that so this is in backwardation on the bonds, and I don't, I feel like it should be different because you're usually paying interest to buy in, but the December contract, which is what we're trading here with a September option, is cheaper than the September contract, which tells me that overall people are betting that the interest rate will go up and then the bond price will go down. Amazon. Holding 100 shares on Amazon. We are just waiting for that expiration to exit that position. Might roll it out, but don't know. Goog with an L. I've got the call on for 370. It was up in the money and now it's down. We'll just keep rolling that, and let's actually see if there's a trade on that on the 7-day. That's really wide spreads there. 71. I'm going to wait and see if that tightens up. I don't want to. That's a huge spread on that. QQQ, the bread and butter of my account. We've got trades 4 days, 9 days out. That's the call that we rolled out that was in the money. It's still in the money. We're just going to keep trying to defend and roll, or we may just take the $1,000 loss on that. The puts are all looking good. We'll trade that in a minute. SLV. Silver pulling back a little bit this morning after opening up. I think it'll keep creeping up, but what do I know? SpaceX. Okay, so we traded we rolled this down for more money and kind of bit ourselves on that one. Probably should have just closed it or waited. It happens. So what I'm going to do on SpaceX was 4 days. I'm going to go to this one that's in the money. I'm going to buy this back for 11.30, and let's see if we can roll out somewhere up more. Let's roll out to maybe August 28th at the 130 price here for $1.42 credit. So we're taking the 125 off. We're rolling it out 2 more weeks. Going to make another $147 in credit, and we just keep rolling that up behind, and we just let that sit for 2 weeks and see what happens. And did it go through? All right, it went through. I didn't hear a beep. It was silent, but it went through. Okay, so there's our first roll. And then on this one, we're getting challenged on this. This is a good time to roll this out. We're only going to roll this out 1 week. We're going to 570, buy to close, sell to open the next week, and let's say 140. We'll pick up 72 cents in credit, but we pick up $500 in value on the shares if it were to go up. I don't know why this is quiet today. We're not beeping, but that's okay. That went through. Excuse me 1 second. Gotta get my coffee. All right. So that's those 2 trades. Just rolling them out and up, picking up more potential value if SpaceX drops. We'll close those out. And SPY. That looks fine. That's was traded out for 4 days for 6 weeks, so we're good. Let's go back to QQQ. And let's just check our spending power, see where we're at today. 1 week results, pretty decent last week. Finally, everything kind of started to move in the right direction and close the positions. Have $53,000 of options buying power. Or because of margin, I could do $106,000 in stock buying power. So we're going to go out again, the 7-day bread and butter, 721. I'm going to run down here to the 700 at the 13 delta, and then buy back the 640. Sell the 700 and buy the 660, 40 spread. In here somewhere, I know it's there. For $1.40. Let's just do one of those. I was going to do two, but let's just do one. I did pick up some credits on the SpaceX. And then we're going to set that to close at 40 cents. So let's just see what that filled for. It filled for a 134. So that's $90 in potential profit on that. And then we've also opened up the, let's take a look. This is our 45, 46 days out. We could trade it tomorrow, but let's just see what this market looks like. IV rank is still high. I would definitely trade this 660 620. So we're, in this case, we're selling the 660 put for 515, and we're buying back the 620 put. So again, it's a 40 wide, risking $4,000 to make 288. On this, they tell you the probability of profit is 87%, so a 13% chance to lose money. Not necessarily max loss, but 13% chance to lose money. The probability of making 50% at some point is 91. It's an 8 delta, which just means it's we're positive, and it kind of gives you a versus holding S&P. $5 a day theta, 5.6. Max profit 289. It's moving. Max loss 370 or 3,700. So for a 6.5 weeks, we're looking at 291 divided by 4,000, 7% in 6 weeks, and I'm going to trade 2 of those, and then we're going to set them to close when they reach $1. We'll see if that fills. While we're waiting for that to fill, does anyone have any questions? I see Brent's on here. Everyone else, if you want, if you're watching, do me a favor. Just tell me you're here and who you are and where you're from. Help the algorithm with some chats, you know. All right, let's see where we need to be. Oh, there it filled. So we're going to set it to close for $1. So all we do is click here, buy to close on that one since we sold it, and then sell this one to close since we bought it back. Not 1,300. Good till canceled. You're set to close at 1. So, okay, great question, Brent. Is it for risk or to free up capital? So it's not to free up capital. It's a risk on this. So on these, we're going out 6 to 7 weeks, 45 days. We're going to manage it around 21. We're going to start looking at it, most likely to roll or close at 21. But the reason I do that, so I said $1 as opposed to $1.20. And the reason is, if you look at this, there's a reason they give you a profitability of reaching 50% of max profit at any point, is because as the market moves up and down, I could swing up and close this at half profit within 2 or 3 weeks. And so instead of trying to target 100%, you want to try and take some profit off. And the other thing is, so let's just pick another one so it's not the trade we're in. 675, 670. So you're risking $500 here to make 76. At 50% of the profit, you have now changed your risk profile because you're still risking that whole 500 all the time. But you've already made $35 on it. So now when you've reached 50% of profit, you now are doubling your risk for that, because now you can only make, because this is a capped, right? This is capped profitability, max profit. You can only make another $35, but you're still risking the same 500. So the math and the math and the talking heads that teach this stuff, which I learned from, they said, well, why are you leaving that open? You close that because you basically have doubled your risk on that, and you didn't increase your reward because you've already made that money. So the concept is pick a close. Sometimes I close it for less. Sometimes it's kind of for my target. But really 50% is what the recommended target is. And I do it a little bit more. Sometimes I go for a little bit more money. If it's a closer scalp, I might do it for less. But every time I open a trade, I set it to close, and I really set it to close at around 50% of its value on that. Correct. You're still risking the exact amount of capital. So Brent's question, if you aren't reading the chat, so there's less profit for the remaining risk of capital. Exactly. So you're always risking that same amount of capital, but as you've locked your profit in, as it goes up, in this case, the market goes up or the theta decay comes off, you've already got that profit in your account. But if you leave the trade open, you're still risking that same amount of money. So the concept is you've made 50%. You basically are doubling your risk for the last $35 as opposed to the first 35, or in this case, 240. So like on this August 17th trade, sell the 700, buy back the 660. For $1.41. So I set that to close at 40 cents to make $1, but really mathematically I should probably set it to close at 70 cents. I should trade two of them and set it to close at 70 cents to make the money. I make my choices based on my targets and what I've been doing. And on this, my target on this trade is about to make $1.90. I think I traded that 131. So 131 would be set to close at 65. I set it to close at 40. So slightly different, but still it's just pushing a little bit more, taking a little bit more risk on that trade. But that's why we set to close early. We don't just run them to expiration, because you want to take your risk off when there's not as much. You could have 1 cent left in there and the market moves haywire. Well, you're risking that $500 or $4,000 to make $1, and it's not worth it. So make your money up front and then move on. And then I wanted to look at AMD. Last one of the day. IV ranks down. It's down $7. Let's look at a September 25th trade. And again, I'm going to run out here to the 10 delta, 365, and I'm just going to go 20 wide on this and see what it pays. So in this case, I'm going 6.5, call it 7 weeks out. I'm risking 2,000 to make 157. 7%. So that's right in my target. It's a longer trade. I could still theoretically on this take I could allow assignment on this AMD if I wanted, or leave this open. If I traded it naked, it would pay me $375 and take $5,500 in buying power. And that's what I used to do on a lot of this stuff and make 6%. But what you see there is it actually makes me less. Now there is a, you know what? I just looked at this. I don't know. I should see this. 375, 6, that's a super wide. Again, we're super wide there. I want to make this trade, but I want the markets to be tighter. I think I'm going to pass on that trade. I really want to make this trade, but I don't like that $2 and so that's a huge spread for that. Just too wide. Unless I could do, let's see. Let's go 20. The numbers are still good. $375, 642. If I could get this closer to, say, sell this for 5, buy this back for 3 for 2. See if that'll fill. And then we're making 10% on the money. We'll just leave that and see if it fills. I don't think that's going to fill. I could be wrong, but I'm just going to see. I'm just going to try and play that spread just a little bit, like kind of Midland there and Midland there, 5 and 3, and get $2 out of it. That would be more the risk. If it doesn't fill, that just won't fill. We'll see if that fills today. I'll leave it open for the day. See if we get a fill on that. All right. That's it. That's all I've got. In and out. We're in and out in 17 minutes. So that's my trading. That's what I do every day. For those that don't know, I started this to show some friends and family how I do this. And I decided I was doing Zoom meetings, but not everyone can get on. So I decided just to post it on YouTube so everyone can see it and can learn. I learned through doing stuff. Oh, Google's down. I learned through doing, and that's kind of how I teach, is showing you what I do. But this is for learning experience. You don't necessarily have to do it. I'm not giving financial advice. I'm just showing you what I do and how I make my money and the results, the good and the bad. So hopefully that helps. And if you have questions, feel free to ask. If you don't ask the question, then I don't know what you do or don't understand. So I see no more questions in the chat. And I think we've caught up on the lag for YouTube. So thank you very much. And I'll be back on tomorrow. If you like what you see, do me a favor. Click the like, click the subscribe, and we'll see how this goes. You get to track my wins and losses.